Real quick, everybody, I want to tell you a little bit about betonline.ag. We're right in the middle of March Madness, and the NBA is in full swing. So head on over to betonline.ag. You know, they have you covered for all the news, scores, and odds, and it is the best way to place your bets, and it is completely free to sign up. You know, whether you want to bet on the odds, the spread, whatever it is, the over-under, prop bets, they have you covered at betonline.ag. So head over to betonline.ag or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. All right, guys, let's roll that intro. Welcome back into the Tide Talk podcast, part of the Believe Podcast Network. Stacey Blackwood here with Jake Thomas. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I am doing great, and just excited to be a Alabama fan. And when I mean Alabama fan, I'm talking about across all sports. But there's one that we're really going to focus on, and that is our basketball team right now.
Yeah, the men's team gets the big win yesterday against Iona and Rick Pitino. In the first round of the NCAA tournament, final score of 68-55. So big game there. Get the win. A win is a win is a win, as they say. And breaking news: as we record this, number 3 seed West Virginia has been upset by Syracuse. So a couple upsets the last few games, Jake.
Dang.
And we really don't have time to touch on all those, but. Syracuse does get the upset there. Of course, Illinois was upset earlier today. Texas was upset last night. Virginia was upset last night. So March Madness has arrived.
And it's been madness for sure, man. There has been some crazy upsets. And, what about old Sister Jean's team? They're looking really good right now, too.
Yeah, they beat Illinois today. So and they really controlled the game from start to finish. So they're one of those teams that you really just don't want to play because of how well they execute, especially on the offensive end. But we can talk about that if Alabama has the opportunity to play those guys on down the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Alabama was able to avoid an upset yesterday with the 68-55 win over Rick Pitino and Iona. Jake, just kind of give your thoughts on the game. It wasn't the prettiest of games, but like I said a minute ago, a win is a win.
Yeah, you're right about that. And, I was able to watch all the first half, and I missed like the last 5 minutes of the game. I had to go help some family move some furniture. But from what I saw, they started out, we made like a couple big shots early, and I was like, okay, Petty made a huge one. I'm like, boy, it's just to be a rout. And then we kind of just went flat on offense. Quinterly and Shackelford come off the bench, gave us another spark. And, it was a back and forth game for a while. I had a feeling it was going to be close because Rick Pitino is a mastermind and we'll go down the Hall of Fame, eventually in coaching. So I knew it was going to be tough, and he had his guys ready to play. I'll tell you one of the things that I feel like that helped late in the game, or really in the second half yesterday, was how we shut down. I think his name is Gist, and he only scored like maybe 2 or 4 points in the second half, and us slowing him down really helped because he put up 16 on us, but most of those were in the first half.
Yeah, him and Ross were problems, especially in the first half. But like you mentioned, in the second half, the Alabama defense really took over the game. I mean, they only gave up 23 points in the second half. You're going to win a lot of basketball games, only surrendering 23 points in a half. So the
That's
defense,
incredible.
the defense was the story of the game for Alabama. The shots were not falling. I'm looking here at the box score, Jake. Petty and Shaq combined to go 7 of 22 and 2 of 10 from three.
Mhm.
But Alabama was still able to get a 13-point win. The bench for Alabama continues to be the story for me, especially on the offensive end. Guys like Quinterly, you know what he's going to do, but
Mhm.
Reese and Gary also, getting 6-8 points every time they come off the bench is huge. And Reese late in that game, when it was still pretty tight, hit those 2 threes. Gary gets a steal and goes to the line and makes both free throws. Then Herb gets a steal and gets a dunk on the other end, and that really opened the game up there in the second half. And uh, real quick on John Petty, everybody knows that he struggled yesterday, just 1 of 5 from three. I believe all those attempts were in the first half. Like you mentioned, he made his first one, and you get to thinking, okay, maybe Petty's going to come on and start hitting some shots. He struggled in the SEC tournament, so you're kind of hoping that he's going to have a big game on the offensive end, and it will come eventually.
Right.
He's just too good of a shooter for it not to happen. But Petty did all the other things really well yesterday. 7 rebounds, a couple offensive rebounds that were putbacks for points. So a couple steals. Just really good effort. He won the hard hat award yesterday. For the most blue collar points in the game. Herb Jones has kind of made that famous around the country, but Petty won that award yesterday. So the shots were not falling for Petty, but he made plays for the team in other areas. And that's what it's about. That's what winning basketball is. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Steph Curry, who you could probably say is the greatest shooter of all time. Go look at some of his games. He has a lot of games where he goes 1 of 10 from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It happens.
Mhm.
So you just got to do the other things really well to keep your team in it. And John Petty was able to do that. And I hope some people kind of get off his back a little bit. Uh, he's just going through a little bit of a slump. I believe he's lost a little bit of confidence, but all it takes is a couple to go in early and it could be over with after that. He's capable of making 8 or 10 3-pointers in one game.
Absolutely. Another thing I want to touch on is, you see, we search through or see a lot on our timeline on Twitter about, you see during the Alabama game, oh my God, we need a rebound, rebound, rebound. How about 13 offensive rebounds for the Tide yesterday? Man, that's huge. When we have guys going down there like Herb, you said Petty, I think Gary had an offensive rebound. Just guys like that going down there, we're getting rebounds and we out rebounding them 42-26 yesterday. So anytime you're out rebounding an opponent, you have a really good chance to win. So, getting them second chance points, the offensive rebounds, that was great to see. And like you mentioned, the 2 clutch threes from Alex Reese when we needed them. And he just comes up and he got a shot. Most of the time he was like, oh my God, don't let Reese shoot. But when he does and he's on, dude, the automatic.
Yeah, Reese is one of those guys that you can't help but root for. He's kind
Mhm.
of been through it all his entire career at Alabama, and I'm just really excited that he was able to hit those 2 shots.
Yeah, me too, brother.
And real quick before
Mhm.
we wrap up our little recap of the Iona game and look ahead to Maryland, Alabama 5 of 16 from three, so they only made about half as many 3-pointers as they normally do. They only shot 56% from the free throw line, so they left a lot of points there, and they still won the game by 13 and finished with 68 points. I mean, uh, Alabama is one of those teams that, and we've talked about it off, kind of, pre-recording that, Alabama gets a few shots to fall. They're going to run away from some teams in this tournament because their defense is going to be there every game, and they're going to force the opponent to make the mistakes, miss shots. And when Alabama forces mistakes and turnovers, they turn it into transition and transition points. And uh, when the shots start falling, and they will eventually, it's look out. They're as good as anybody else in the country.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I just want to say one other thing, and I've been following this since it's been happening. And the last podcast, I also made a mention of it, but we got another JQ to Gary alley oop again yesterday. I am starting to love to see that combination.
They're a great 1-2 punch off the bench. And
Mhm.
speaking of the bench will get better once Primo gets back.
Oh man.
Primo's a starter, and Ellis has had to fill in, and he's done pretty good. But I think he only had 2 points yesterday, so not a lot of production there. But when Primo comes back, it just makes us that much better.
Absolutely. Talking about Ellis, he did had 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. So, like you mentioned, most of the guys, when they're not on their game, they're doing other things to help the team win. And that's key.
Real quick, I want to tell everybody a little bit about eBay. Whether rare dead stock or the latest release, find the exact shoe that you're looking for. As the original sneaker marketplace, eBay is the place to go to cop the pair that you've been eyeing. With eBay's authenticity guarantee, your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional authenticators, so you never have to worry about not getting the exact shoe that you're looking for. And for the sneaker sellers out there, eBay has eliminated selling fees on sneakers of $100 or more, making it free to sell or flip your collection. So go to ebay.com/sneakers today. eBay, the world's best destination for discovering great value and unique selection. Looking ahead to tomorrow night's game against Maryland, of course, Maryland beats UConn in that 10-7 matchup. So Maryland, a 10 seed, moves on to play Alabama tomorrow night at 7:45 on TNT. Right now, Alabama's a 5.5-point favorite. Man, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a gambling man, but I think I would take Alabama and the 5 points on that. I mean, I feel good about that.
I agree.
I'll tell you a little bit about why here in a minute. But did you get a chance to watch any of the UConn Maryland game?
I watched a little bit of it. I was, there's so many good games on at one time. It kind of sucks you running back and forth on channels during commercials, but I kind of honed in on that one late, and I watched the last maybe 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, they got a guy, and I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, Eric Ayala. I'm not sure how you say that, but he's a really good player. He had a really good game against UConn. Of course, former Alabama player Galen Smith is on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He don't play, a monster amount of minutes, but, he will see some action. But, they've got a Wiggins kid, Aaron Wiggins, a 14-point guy. They got some scores, but, Jake, they really pride themselves on defense like Alabama does.
Yep.
So it's going to be kind of a battle on the defensive end of the floor and which team can execute on offense. And I just really feel like Alabama's really due one of those games to really explode on the offensive end of the floor.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I had made a comment to a couple people. I even told my wife last night. I was like, I'm kind of rooting for Maryland because, Connecticut, they're a really good team as well, and they're a streaky team. And I was like, I was kind of concerned about having to play them. But Maryland, they fought hard, and they got the win. And I'm excited to see Galen have some success there. He was in he had some good years there at Alabama, but he's going to be fired up for this. But I just think Alabama's got too much firepower.
Yeah, as far as Alabama's top 30 in the country in scoring, almost 80 points a game, 79.2 is what they're averaging. And you look at Maryland, they only average 68.6, which is 247th in the country. So Alabama obviously has the edge on the offensive end of the floor. And on the defensive end, it's Alabama gives up 69 and Maryland gives up 64. So Maryland is a really good defensive team. So that's what I'm looking for, is to seeing how well Alabama can execute against that Maryland defense. They got some bigger bodies. Alabama doesn't really have a true big. Reese is a 6'9" guy who's really a stretch 4. Juwan Gary's only 6'6", even though he plays like he's about 6'10". So the size is something that maybe could be a cause for concern on that end of the floor, maybe at the rim when Alabama drives to the basket. But I like where we're at right now. I like Herb, the way he's running the offense. In the half court. He's able to execute really well. When him and JQ are on the floor together,
Oh man.
that's pretty dangerous. That slip screen that they ran, where Herb faked the screen and dove to the basket and Quinterly, read it perfectly. That's the kind of stuff that really separates when those two are on the floor together. So, and Herb. Speaking of Herb, had 20 points yesterday, and it was kind of one of those games where he didn't really have to try that hard to get to 20. So
Yep.
he made all his free throws. He's struggling from the 3-point line right now as well too. So the outside shot's not falling for Alabama lately, but that day is coming. We've seen it happen before. I'm not saying we should do what we did against LSU, making 23 of them, but if Alabama makes 10 plus threes in a game, I feel pretty good about beating anybody, especially a team like Maryland who really struggles to put up points, especially against a talented defensive team like Alabama.
Yeah, you was talking about the 3 points have not been or 3 point is not going down for us here lately, but like you said, we can make them. We have in the past. I mean, we put up 94 against Auburn, put up 86 against Florida, 85 against Kentucky, that 105 game against LSU, and 90 against Arkansas. So I mean, we can make them. We just got a little slump right now, but the best thing is we have guys when they're not making threes, our defense tightens up and we can get the basket. And so, we're just dangerous all over, offensively, even if we're not making the 3-pointers.
Yeah, we have guys that can take the defenders off the dribble and get to the rack, like JQ, and Shaq's pretty decent at it. Herb can do it, obviously. John Petty, when he decides to do it, is somewhat effective. So, like you said, we have a talented offense. And when the shots fall, it just makes it that much better. So I feel confident about tomorrow night. I'm like you. I like the matchup with Maryland a little bit better than what I would have with UConn. And maybe I'm wrong for thinking that, but that's just kind of how what my gut tells me.
Yeah.
But I do think that Alabama will cover that 5.5 point spread. I think it could be 10 plus points that Alabama wins this game by. I feel like this team is just focused and kind of on a mission. And, the bracket's kind of lining up for them in a good way.
Absolutely. We were talking off the podcast here before we started, but, after the upset from Texas, Alabama, if they get past Maryland, they're going to be playing either 11th seed UCLA or a 14th seed Albany Christian. So, I mean, like you said, it's lining up real good. And is still a possibility if LSU gets past Michigan and they get past whoever wins out of Colorado and FSU, we would be playing them in the Elite Eight game. And guys, I'm telling y'all, if that happens, that's going to be a knockout, drag-out fight. I'm just telling you. If that happens, my blood pressure is going to be sky high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even think about that right now after what happened last Sunday in the SEC tournament championship game. So, but let's just take care of Maryland first and kind of see what happens and how the tournament plays out. There's plenty of madness to be had, the remainder of this tournament.
Absolutely, man. It's exciting. We've said in the last podcast, this is the best playoff top format in college sports. And like you said, it's madness, man. I mean, all the upsets so far, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Jake, I don't really have anything else to add on the Iona game or the Maryland preview. Really excited to see what happens. We'll get back with y'all, post Maryland game. Of course, the women tip off in the women's tournament tomorrow around lunchtime as well. The softball team took care of Tennessee this weekend, and they won the series 2-1. The baseball team did get a win at number 1 Arkansas on Friday night, so they went 1-2 against the number 1 team in the country on the road. Of course, the gymnastic team won the SEC championship. Just a lot of good things going good right now for the University of Alabama athletic department.
The swim team also won the national championship.
Yes, they did. They did. Right.
I mean, and the rowing team, I believe they beat Tennessee this weekend. So, I mean, we kid, but I mean, really, it's an everything school.
Yep, championship school, as Nato put it.
Exactly.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, real quick before we get out of here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave us a 5-star review. Head over to TideTalkSports.com to check out all the latest on the Crimson Tide. Follow Jake at Jake Thomas TTS on Twitter. You can follow me at Blackwood TTS. And, of course, you can follow our Tide Talk Sports Twitter page at Tide Talk Sports. Until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.